Greetings, everyone. We are continuing our series on identity, in particular, labels and how they impact how we see ourselves. When people do not understand what we are experiencing, whether it be anxiety, depression, or identity challenges, they often apply labels to us to help them feel more comfortable about the situation. But these labels can be harmful to our ability to heal and remain confident in ourselves as we grow. The labels we give ourselves especially can be even worse, because when we label ourselves, it means we are buying into what someone else has told us about who we are, or what our depression or anxiety is telling us we should believe about ourselves. That's the struggle with having mental health challenges. Your mind may convince you that you're not good enough, that you're always screwing things up, that you make your friends and your family unhappy because of your struggles, that maybe you should just isolate yourself from the world so that you'll never be hurt. Recently, I had the opportunity to do an interview with an acquaintance of mine regarding her struggles with depression, anxiety, and identity challenges. Because of its length, the interview has been split up among multiple videos. This will be part one. The audio for my questions on the original interview video were somewhat muffled and difficult to hear. So for this particular video, I have redubbed my questions so that you can hear and understand the questions that were being asked and get the most out of the information provided in the interview. I hope this video helps all of you who are watching, that you get some information, some deeper understanding of the struggles that you may be going through or that others in this group may be going through, so that you can better support each other. What are some labels that you've experienced, and how have those labels impacted your thoughts on your personal identity?
Oddball. Mostly because people didn't know how to label me, so they kind of just went, okay, well, she's odd. Not knowing then she was they and I am who I am. Honestly, I heard dyke a lot. I was the problem child. That's always been a big one for me, mostly because my parents didn't know exactly, well, I think it was more so my mom, but they didn't know exactly how to help. I didn't really realize it until I saw books on the bookshelf and asked my mom about it, and she said, yeah, we bought those because of you. They were the problem child books. There were at least 3 or 4 of them. Asshole. It's mostly because of my emotional status, and it's so hard for me to deal with certain emotions. I just kind of become an asshole.
When you are confident in who you are, some people see that as being arrogant, an a-hole, as you put it. If we don't fit into some people's perceptions of what we should be or how we should act, they label us, sometimes poorly. I must compliment you on your ability to be confident in yourself, despite all of the struggles that you have gone through. You seem to be able to inspire other people to be that confident as well.
When I see my issues in other people, I go, hey, I kind of sort of know how to handle that.
Based on your experiences growing up, at what point do you feel people started labeling you? And what are some of the things you did at that younger age that caused people to feel that you were different?
I was loud and obnoxious. I didn't listen well. My mom always used the term rebellious. I was always trying to do things my own way and trying to figure things out for myself, whether that hurt people's feelings or not. Growing up, I had a lot of arguments with a lot of my family members. My mom and dad would be the majority of those fights, but it really was just me trying to figure out me and that was where the fights began because, like I said, I was rebellious. So they'd tell me to do and act one way, and I just wouldn't do it.
Do you think that family belief systems at the time played a big part in that?
Yeah, I absolutely do. My parents trying to force me into Christianity really did not help the whole situation, especially trying to figure out who I am as a person and them not understanding or brushing it off, pretty much just not acknowledging. One of the biggest things, and it was really hard growing up, realizing that I'm transgender, that I'm a gender fluid person. I prefer neutral terms. I prefer being masculine mostly, and my mom growing up was, and she still does it now, and so does my mother-in-law, why can't you wear a dress, put on makeup more often, why can't you wear girl clothes, here, take these pretty shoes that I know you'll never wear, but I think you'll like them because I like them.
They wanted you to conform to a specific image?
Right. Mostly because the way that they were raised, and back then there were transgender people, it's just people didn't know how to handle it, or they thought of it more of a sickness, you spend more time around men, you want to be a man, or boys, for instance, being raised around women, all of a sudden, you're gay, or you like wearing women's clothes. It's really societal norms, and trying to fit in with somebody with those societal norms and religious views is really hard, especially when you grow up manic and you sit there and you start to hate yourself, you start to hate your body, you start hating the way that you think, the way that you act. It's just you as a whole, you begin to hate yourself because you think you're always doing something wrong.
Was that the general message coming from all of your family? Was there anyone in your family that could show sympathy or understanding for your struggle?
When I was first trying to figure things out and I was still in high school, I started to think that maybe I was bisexual, so I told my sister. And I thought that maybe by coming out as bisexual, trying to find myself, I would start to feel better. My sister, her reaction, well, why didn't you tell me first? Why did it take you so long to tell me? And it wasn't so much of a sympathy from her. She was mad at me. The person I got the most sympathy from was my cousin Brian. We didn't talk a whole lot, but we talked enough. Growing up, I guess I'd have to say there weren't a whole lot of people that showed me that sympathy. That was hard because I still felt like I had to figure it all out on my own. I had no idea what the fuck was going on grade school and high school because there was nobody there that could give me that kind of information. When I got to college, I started learning things more. I started to self-medicate with cannabis, which helped part of the issue with my anxiety and my manic depression. Once I sort of started finding myself, it made it worse because I found the information and I was like, well, if this is truly who I am, I'm going to have more problems with my family, more problems with my friends. It wasn't until a couple years after college that I really started to kind of come to terms with it, and I started becoming more comfortable with myself and what I wore and how I spoke. But I still had that issue that there was something there that I didn't understand, that I didn't know. 2.5 years now, I came out to my family as being transgender, and my parents, their reaction was they kind of looked at each other and they were like, well, we didn't know exactly what it was, but we figured that it was something we didn't understand. And I sat down with them and, I cried, but they were really understanding, and they're like, we love you the way you are, no matter the way you are, even if we don't understand what it is. But still that manic depression I still have to deal with that pops up and tells me that there's something wrong with me, or that I am not human.
That wraps up part 1 of this video interview. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did gain some important insights and are able to either apply this to your own life or help others who might be struggling in a similar manner. Part 2 will be coming very soon. In the meantime, as always, if any of you have any questions, comments, or want to discuss your challenges on a personal level, please feel free to contact me or another Wolf staff member, and we will do our very best to give you the tools that you need to help get you through your challenges. Blessings.